And joining us in the studio is Father Jerome Marquez, Canon Law Professor at the Divine Word School of Theology. Hi, Father.
Good morning,
Good morning. Thanks for joining us.
Welcome.
Well, the story of the Catholic Church continues. What is this new phase that we're going into with the new Pope? He looks very different from past popes.
Well, you seem to be a very pastoral inclined Pope, no? The mere fact that he reaches out to the faithful, for example, during the inaugural Mass, that he went out of the Pope Mobile, stepped out, reached out to a child, to a paraplegic. In his Mass at the Santa Ana, at the Chapel of the Vatican, he went at the back of the chapel after the Mass. He greeted the Mass goers, very pastoral. And his message is also very clear, very short, a very short homily, very simple, very direct, and very vibrant. No, he gives us a face of a church from Latin America. His concern is for the poor, a church of the poor. He brings out the freshness of a non-European Pope that is on reach with people and trying to identify the issues also of the third world concerning poverty, unjust structures. And the personality is also very engaging. It's quite new for us in that sense that this Pope reaches out rather than the formalistic type that we see at the papal inauguration, on meetings. No, he's very personal. He embraces visitors. There's some sort of a distance between the Pope and the faithful. This time he bridges the distance. Very Latin American, also a cultural. No, he reaches out, he embraces, he kisses, and he's not afraid to reach out to people.
He said the poor should be poor for the poor.
The church is a church of the poor church that is poor and for the poor. So he roots out the church to be at the service of the poor, of the least. And I think that is bottom. It expresses already the inspiration of his name, Francis, identified with the poor, who has decided to live the luxurious life that he had and chose to be poor. And on that same spirit, he tries to bring the church into that concern.
Do you think that the church can do that now? Live the luxurious life that it's living and be poor for the poor?
Actually, there might be two phases of the church that we understand. A church that might be bureaucratic, with a lofty lifestyle,
yes,
the formality of it, because it's institutional on one hand. But you also see pastors living among the poor, with the
yes,
slums. I worked with Smoky Mountain for 3 years. Our mission are with the indigenous, the SVDs. That's also a picture of the church serving and living and having advocacy with the poor, with issues concerning poverty, environment, about injustices. These are issues of the poor that he brings it out.
And you need the first phase, the face of the institution as well.
Yes, because the institution also gives direction and gives face also to the institutional concerns. Because of the very large bureaucracy, you have such an institution to keep up to the order, to put order into things, direction. You have the curia that works out on everything, the promotion of faith, dialogue with cultures. You have an academe part of it that makes research. And you have also a very pastoral sense that comes down with people, celebrates Mass, creates cooperatives, livelihood programs, education for the out of school. You have also that feature. And parishes, you have pastors who are with the rich and also with the poor. I think church should be inclusive, and that is what this Pope tries to bring out. And that's also very true to himself, to embrace everyone, because church is people of God.
What kind of an effect do you think that Pope Francis, Father, is going to have on the bureaucracy of the church? Because people have been talking about the bureaucracy of the church ever since Pope Benedict XVI resigned in February.
Well, he spoke about his office as an office that has power, but this power is used for service. And I think that is the main point of any bureaucracy and of any organization and any power that has power and authority. It should be used to serve for the mission of Christ. And so, firstly, we see him also as he was provincial of the Jesuit institution. He was also president of the Bishops' Conference of Argentina. You see certain leadership qualities on him. Now, if you talk about infighting within the Curia, it also talks about how power can be better used to advance the mission of the church. Church is vibrant as long as it continues its mission. Our former Superior General of the SVD, Pernia, mentioned about the flame that burns the church, that puts fire, is mission and evangelization. If the Curia would really work for mission and evangelization, less of the power control, less of the interest, I think it would serve the purposes of the church, which Christ has intended.
What kind of impact would it have, would this change have on the Filipino Catholic?
Well, basically, if you have the interior of the church, its internal ordering is if its internal ordering is well arranged, it's directed to its service, you could feel it outside. It's like any corporation. No? If it's internally you have squabbles, then it manifests on its evangelization, on its work for mission. If it knows to order itself inside, then it can also know how to manifest its works of mission outside. Proper sense of what is priority of church. Like saying the priority is the poor, the least, the aging. And if you know and understand it, then you can also manifest it on your missionary activities and endeavors. So, you see, you also need to choose your men inside the Curia. The critical point is the position of leadership, because leaders also exercise the governance. He cannot take it alone. He needs people to do it with him and to collaborate, teamwork in that sense. So if the internal ordering is well-founded, then it will also manifest even in the Philippine setting.
Father, thank you very much for your time. Thank you for joining us this morning.